Everyone enjoys a good love story, but what happens when history throws us a curveball and offers up some genuinely strange tales of adoration? From ancient emperors to artistic masterminds, join us to learn about 10 personal lives of historical people who had bizarre love lives. Number 10. Pablo Picasso. Let us look at the life of one of the most innovative painters of all time, Pablo Ruiz Picasso, who was born in Spain in 1881. Picasso was a real art polymath, working in a variety of genres, including painting, sculpture, ceramics, and theater design. His impact on modern artists is evident, and his creative approach has inspired generations. Picasso's personal life, though, was just as fascinating as his artistic talent, especially when it came to his interactions with women. Picasso's love life was characterized by polyamory. Despite being married twice, he remained unconstrained by traditional conceptions of faithfulness, engaging in relationships with a variety of women over the course of his life. Picasso had a habit of falling in and out of love at will, frequently dating numerous women at the same time. Records show that he had romantic relationships with at least 20 women. However, given his social circle and connections with models, dancers, and actors, it's possible that there were more. Picasso's attraction was heightened by his proximity to beauty, since he was frequently surrounded by beautiful ladies as a result of his creative activity. When he fell in love with a particular woman, he chased her mercilessly. It's no surprise that Picasso's love inspired his work and inventiveness. After all, what could be more inspirational than a woman's beauty? Despite his charm, Picasso's relationships were frequently turbulent and ended on a bitter note. In the year 1904, Picasso met Fernande Olivier, a French model and artist. Their relationship sparked Picasso's early Cubist paintings and sculptures, making Olivier a significant muse. Yet their love affair was not without turmoil, and it ultimately ended after 7 years. Olivier wrote memoirs about her relationship with Picasso, but he paid her to withhold their publication until both of them passed away, likely to protect his reputation. Dora Maar, a French photographer, was another lady who bore the brunt of Picasso's violence. Picasso and Maar began a 7-year romance in 1935, during which she was one of his inspirations. Picasso, on the other hand, was brutal to her, placing her against other women in perpetual competition for his love and attention. Maar's tears were immortalized in Picasso's iconic artwork, Weeping Woman. When their affair ended in 1943, Maar experienced an emotional breakdown and withdrew from public life. Picasso's personal connections' intricacies shed light on the darker side of his nature. While his artistic achievements for the world are undeniable, his treatment of women reveals a fault in his mentality. It serves as a warning that occasionally meeting one's heroes might lead to disappointment. Number 9. Catherine the Great. Catherine the Great, born Sophia Augusta Frederica of Anhalt-Zerbst, has probably one of history's most strange love stories. Catherine's personal connections and love exploits were a source of curiosity and controversy during her reign as Empress of Russia from 1662 until she passed away in 1796. Catherine's love life was filled with passionate relationships as well as political ties. Her marriage to Peter III, who would eventually become emperor, was far from joyful. Catherine felt miserable and neglected as a result of Peter's immaturity and unpredictable behavior. As a result, Catherine sought emotional fulfillment outside of her marriage, pursuing affairs that would influence her personal life and reign. Grigory Potemkin, a Russian military officer, was one of Catherine's most well-known lovers. Potemkin's brilliance, charisma, and power won Catherine's heart, and their connection grew into a deep and lasting alliance. Potemkin became a valued advisor and essential in Catherine's efforts to modernize and extend the Russian Empire. Thus, their love affair had a strong political dimension as well. Potemkin's effect expanded beyond the domain of romance. Catherine lavished enormous governmental power upon him, naming him Prince of the Holy Roman Empire. They set off on a quest to strengthen and extend Russian territory, notably in the south. Potemkin's participation in the annexation of Crimea and the formation of a new geographical unit, the Taurida Governorate, was significant. Catherine's love life was not limited to a single relationship. She also had relationships with the King of Poland, Stanislaw August Poniatowski, and Count Grigory Orlov, a military commander. These relationships, while strong and emotional, were also political in nature. Catherine used her contacts contacts to her advantage, strengthening alliances and furthering her political goals. Catherine, in addition to her male partners, displayed amorous and emotional interest in women. According to certain historians, Catherine had connections with her ladies-in-waiting, including Princess Dashkova and Countess Praskovia Bruce. Although less recorded and frequently contested among historians, these romances demonstrate Catherine's complicated and diversified love life. Catherine the Great's reign was defined by significant achievements in the political, cultural, and social arenas. Despite her complicated personal life, Russia saw substantial modernization and geographical growth during her leadership, converting it into a major European power. Number 8. King Henry VII. King Henry VII was a ferocious ruler who left his imprint on British history not for his significant achievements, but for his ravenous hunger and unusual love life. Henry controlled England with a veracity that stretched beyond the dining table from 1509 until he passed away in 1547. Let us enter Henry's turbulent life and his desire for a male heir, which resulted in 6 marriages and a bevy of mistresses. Hold tight, for the royal roller coaster is about to begin. Henry was no ordinary king. While he reigned over the English Renaissance and the Protestant Reformation, his primary love was cooking. This guy had an insatiable appetite, but little interest in really ruling. But, well, you can't exactly ignore the duties that come with the throne. So Henry reluctantly performed the act while secretly fantasizing about his next lavish feast. Throughout his reign, Henry was obsessed with having a male successor. This preoccupation led him down the perilous path of marriage. Catherine of Aragon, his first wife, was said to be the only woman he genuinely loved. However, her inability to bear him a son led to their divorce. However, another lady, Anne Boleyn, captivated Henry's attention. She accomplished what Catherine could not. She gave birth to a daughter. However, there was still no male successor to guarantee the reign. As rumors of Anne's supposed infidelity circulated, Henry quickly accused her, leading to her premature execution in 1536. Talk about royal soap opera-worthy relationship turmoil. Undaunted by his turbulent love life, Henry married his next love, Jane Seymour, right away. Finally, victory. Henry's long-held wish was fulfilled when Jane gave birth to a male heir. But sadly, tragedy struck when Jane died as a result of problems during childbirth. Henry's desire for a successor appears to have been fraught with both victories and grief. In a calculated maneuver, Henry married Anne of Cleves based on a painting that did not accurately depict her genuine features. Oops! This may be the first documented incidence of catfishing. Henry tried to backtrack, but the wedding went on. 6 months later, the so-called ugly wife consented to a divorce settlement, freeing herself from Henry's changeable loves. Catherine Howard, the lady-in-waiting for Henry's former wife, was next in line. Henry had feelings for Catherine, but his declining health and weight hampered their romantic endeavors. Unfortunately, rumors of Catherine's adultery reached Henry's ears, and his anger was released once more. Catherine met the same end as Anne Boleyn in 1543. Finally, Henry found some solace in his marriage to Catherine Parr. Despite her detention for exhibiting an interest in Protestantism, Catherine was later liberated and remained Henry's faithful spouse. Their marriage was a nice one, and Catherine lived until 1548, a year after the monarch passed away. Number 7. Genghis Khan, Khan of the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan rose to fame early in life after being born in impoverished and secluded Mongolia in 1162. He united diverse Mongolian tribes into one empire and launched a massive conquering expedition. The Mongolian Empire, led by Genghis Khan, reached from Mongolia to the Adriatic Sea in Europe at its peak, making it the greatest land empire in history. Our focus today, however, is not on Genghis the warlord, but on Genghis as a bizarre lover. Despite his never-ending military activities and the weight of his vast empire, Genghis made time for love interests. According to reports, Genghis had 6 official wives and over 500 concubines. You read it right, 500 concubines. This man's love life was nothing short of epic. With such a vast harem at his disposal, one might assume that Genghis would be slowed down by his numerous paramours. Yet our formidable warlord was a force to be reckoned with in matters of love as well. In fact, as of 2020, approximately 16 million males, comprising 0.5% of the world's population, are genetically linked to Genghis Khan. His remarkable genetic legacy is a testament to his unparalleled ability to procreate. Genghis, a ruler of brutal power and godlike status, had no shortage of women vying for his attention. He particularly enjoyed the company of the wives and daughters of his enemies, savoring the conquest not only on the battlefield, but also in the realm of romance. But his desires did not end there. Genghis had a predilection for women with small noses, long hair, and beautiful voices. His preferences demonstrated his taste in womanish warriors who believed Genghis had tremendous prowess, and this belief appeared to be well-founded. After he had passed away, his descendants went on to dominate huge regions spanning Asia and the Middle East, preserving his genetic impact. They, too, had an insatiable thirst for reproduction. Tolui, Genghis's son, had 40 sons of his own. Kublai Khan, his grandson, is said to have had 22 legitimate sons, and many more from his concubines, adding 30 new members to his concubine club every year. This was a family known for its unquenchable appetites. Genghis Khan's personal life, with its large number of brides and concubines, demonstrates his enormous impact not just as a warrior but also as a prolific lover. His genetic legacy reaches far and wide, leaving its imprint on the global population. Number 6. Sigmund Freud. Sigmund Freud was a famous psychologist who studied the complexity of the human mind and revolutionized the science of psychoanalysis. This Austrian neurologist was born in 1856 and is often regarded as the founder of contemporary psychology, notably for his studies of human affairs. However, hidden underneath his innovative thoughts is an odd and interesting part of his personal life. When you think about therapists, you probably picture yourself on the couch, spilling your guts to a skilled expert. So, guess what? Sigmund Freud almost invented it. Sigmund Freud committed his whole career to studying human emotions, ideas, and, most crucially, love. It's fitting since, let's face it, this man had a massive skeleton in his closet. According to accounts, Sigmund Freud had a special bond with his mother. He found as a young kid that he yearned to marry her, and he even considered his father as a competition for his mother's devotion. Psychologists today refer to this phenomenon as the Oedipus complex, which seems to derive from Freud's mother's adoring character in his situation. It appears that he mistook her parental affection for something else. Despite his early visions, Freud finally married Martha Bernays and had 6 children with her. One can only imagine how Martha felt knowing she was married to a guy who had wanted to sleep with his own mother. It certainly raises some eyes and makes one wonder about their marital dynamics. Freud's personal life, with its Oedipal undercurrents, offers a fascinating element to his psychological ideas. One can ask if his own experiences and unresolved urges influenced his ideas on human sexuality and the unconscious mind. It's no surprise that Freud's psychoanalytic method emphasized the importance of early childhood experiences and the effect of parental ties. Sigmund Freud's contributions to psychology are unquestionably substantial, notwithstanding the rather strange aspect of his personal life. His beliefs and approaches revolutionized our knowledge of the human mind and continue to shape how we address mental health today. While Freud's Oedipal inclinations may raise a few eyebrows and wry chuckles, they do not undermine the significance of his seminal work. So the next time you're resting on a therapist's couch expressing your deepest thoughts and emotions, take a moment to reflect on the complicated and fascinating life of the guy who made it all possible. Before we move on to more scandalous love lives of historic figures, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button as well. Now let's check out today's subscriber pick. The legends in these photos are 2 of the most famous people in the world, although their reasons for fame starkly differ. But as it turns out, both of them were pretty unlucky in love and their love lives were a mess. Do you think their relationships impacted their professional lives and their destinies? Tell us in the comments below using the hashtag #SubscriberPick. Number 5. King Tutankhamun's parents. Tutankhamun and his parents, Akhenaten and Nefertiti, were not your typical Egyptian household. Their love life was complicated, contentious, and full of mystery. To fully comprehend their narrative, we must first investigate their backgrounds. In the 14th century BCE, Akhenaten, also known as Amenhotep, rose to the throne. He was a pharaoh who was noted for his extreme religious convictions. Unlike his predecessors, Akhenaten eschewed conventional polytheistic Egyptian god worship in favor of establishing a monotheistic cult centered on the sun disk deity Aten. Many Egyptians saw him as a heretic as a result of this huge shift in religious doctrine. In contrast, Nefertiti was Akhenaten's great love and primary queen. She was famous for her stunning beauty, which was captured in various creative representations. Nefertiti was more than a gorgeous face. She was an enthusiastic participant in her husband's religious movement, even taking the name Nefer-Neferuaten, which means beautiful are the beauties of Aten. Let us now turn our attention to their son, Tutankhamun, who is possibly the most well-known of the 3. Tutankhamun, also known as Tutankhaten, was born at a turbulent time in Egyptian history. He inherited a country in upheaval, as the son of a pharaoh who had abandoned the old gods. Tutankhamun's life took an unexpected turn as a result of his parents' unorthodox relationship. Akhenaten and Nefertiti were not only husband and wife, but also brothers and sisters. Yes, you read that correctly. They were both offspring of Pharaoh Amenhotep III, in a remarkable display of ancient Egyptian royal etiquette. Intermarriage between siblings was widespread among Egyptian nobility, since it was thought to preserve purity and strengthen the royal lineage. This practice, however, raised the chance of genetic illnesses and physical anomalies, which leads us back to Tutankhamun's physical look. Tutankhamun was born with a number of physical flaws. He was born with a cleft palate, a slightly enlarged head, a bent spine, and a noticeable overbite. In addition, he had Kohler's disease, which damaged the bones in his feet and made it impossible for him to walk without help. Scholars believe Tutankhamun's parents were closely connected, which may have contributed to the development of these genetic anomalies. Despite his physical limitations, Tutankhamun rose to power at a young age and governed Egypt for nearly a decade. His reign is sometimes eclipsed by the discovery of his splendid tomb in 1922 by archaeologist Howard Carter. Tutankhamun's famed golden mask, which has become an iconic emblem of ancient Egypt, was among the jewels found in the tomb. So, while Akhenaten and Nefertiti love life was unusual and their genetic choices were dubious, their narrative enthralled the world for generations. It serves as a reminder of the ancient civilization's complex and mysterious character, whose traditions and beliefs sometimes differed substantially from our own. Number 4, Wilt Chamberlain. The famous basketball player Wilt Chamberlain had a towering presence both on and off the court. He dominated the game during his 14-year NBA career at an astonishing 7 feet 1 inch tall. Wilt's supremacy was unrivaled, and he established multiple records that are still in use today, establishing him as one of the most dominant individuals to ever grace a basketball floor. Wilt Chamberlain's 100-point game is one of his most amazing records, which no other player has been able to repeat. It's as if he walked onto the court and shouted, "Move over, everybody! I've got it!" And he did it. Wilt, however, did not stop there. He went on to amass 30,000 career points, a feat accomplished by only a few players in basketball history. He was a true force to be reckoned with. Wilt's power has now spread beyond the basketball court and into the bedroom. The Big Dipper made a claim in his 1990 book, A View from Above, that aroused eyebrows and dropped jaws. He claimed to have slept with over 20,000 women in his lifetime. Yes, you read that right. While several skeptics questioned the veracity of this tale, Wilt Chamberlain maintained his position. And who are we to question him? Wilt, according to intimate acquaintances, had a special fondness for threesomes. He could apparently go through numerous rounds with multiple ladies in a single day. Talk about endurance. According to legend, Wilt had personal experiences with 23 women over a 10-day road trip. Let's not delve into the nitty-gritty of mathematics right now. Let us simply accept Wilt Chamberlain's word for it and marvel at the scope of his achievements. Wilt was not only a master at this, but he was also a bit of an insomniac. Goliath was on his own particular rampage while we poor mortals slept blissfully. He could go for days without sleeping, which contributed to his mystique. Who needs sleep when you're smashing records and seducing ladies by the dozens? Some may have questioned Wilt Chamberlain's assertions and his daring lifestyle, but he remained unapologetic. He maintained his larger-than-life demeanor and left his imprint on the basketball floor. Number 3, Matahari. Matahari, whose actual name is Margaretha Geertruida Zell, was a captivating mystery who captivated the world with her secretive persona and scandalous love life. She was born on August 7, 1876, in Leeuwarden, Netherlands, and went on to become one of history's most famous spies. Her route to espionage, however, was filled with turbulent marriages and turbulent personal life. Margaretha's childhood was marred by tragedy and insecurity. Her father went bankrupt when she was young, causing her family to struggle financially. At the age of 18, she married Rudolf MacLeod, a Dutch Navy officer, and traveled to the Dutch East Indies. Margaretha's marriage was rocky, and she faced violence and betrayal from her spouse. Despite these obstacles, she embraced local culture and learned traditional Indonesian dance techniques, which became an important part of her public character. Margaretha and Rudolf's marriage began to fall apart with the birth of their 2 children. She divorced her husband in 1902 and moved to Europe, residing in Paris. Here, she assumed the stage name Matahari, which means Eye of the Day in Malay, and began a career as an exotic dancer. Her sensuous and seductive performances captivated audiences and earned her a reputation as a femme fatale. While Matahari's dance career gained her recognition and renown, her role in espionage during World War I catapulted her into the public eye. When the war broke out, Matahari found herself in a difficult situation since she had developed ties with powerful individuals from several countries. She began collecting money from German military authorities in exchange for intelligence, owing to her links with high-ranking French and British officers. Matahari's engagement in espionage, on the other hand, was fraught with dispute and ambiguities. Some claim she was a skilled spy, while others claim she was only a piece in a broader intelligence game. The truth might be anywhere in the middle. French intelligence received correspondence indicating that she was serving as a double agent, reportedly sending false information to the Germans in 1917. She was taken into custody and accused of espionage. Matahari maintained her innocence throughout her trial, but the evidence against her was devastating. Her seductress reputation and mixed loyalties worked against her. The court judged her guilty. Firing squad took her life on 15 October 1917. Her last words were said to be, "I am ready." Matahari's passing away added more mystery surrounding her. Matahari had several renowned and powerful boyfriends during her life. In her relationships, she wanted love, security, and financial stability. Military officials, politicians, and wealthy businessmen were among her admirers who were drawn to her charm and attractiveness. Matahari's love life was filled with passion and intrigue, and she became involved in a number of romances that enhanced her image. Number 2, Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe, the original blonde bombshell and ideal city girl. She embodied the modern-day celebrity lifestyle, having spent her whole life in the spotlight. Consider the Kardashians, but back in the day, Marilyn was the center of attention. As the most popular star of her day, it's no wonder that Marilyn had her fair share of lovers and became involved in some unusual relationships. Marilyn's romantic adventure began at an early age when she married James Doherty, her 21-year-old next-door neighbor who also happened to be a police officer. Yes, she married when she was just 16 years old. Their marriage, however, did not last, as Doherty joined the Merchant Marines and Marilyn's modeling and acting career took off. The young actress began a new chapter in her life. Marilyn found herself in the arms of former baseball star Joe DiMaggio in 1954, after shifting from modeling to acting. Despite their 12-year age difference, the two fell in love and married in San Francisco. Their marriage, however, lasted only 9 months. It is reported that DiMaggio became dissatisfied with some of Marilyn's career decisions and duties, which led to their divorce. Even the greatest of romances may succumb to the pressures of public scrutiny. Marilyn, on the other hand, was not one to give up on love quickly. In 1956, she walked down the aisle again, this time with author Arthur Miller. Their bond had formed while working together, and Marilyn was drawn to Miller's courteous treatment of her and his professional reputation. Their marriage gave security, but like any relationship, it had its ups and downs. During their relationship, Marilyn suffered the heartbreak of 3 miscarriages. Furthermore, she came across several messages in which Miller showed his displeasure and humiliation, which broke her heart. Marilyn filed for divorce because she couldn't stand the anguish any longer. Marilyn's list of lovers was as long as the Hollywood red carpet. Throughout her career, she was frequently linked to numerous guys, sparking rumors and sparking flames. Names like Frank Sinatra, Charlie Chaplin, Jr. Milton Berle, and even Marlon Brando were on the list. There's even talk of a romance between President John F. Kennedy and his brother Robert. Marilyn Monroe's magnetism can fascinate anybody, including the commander-in-chief. While some of these love relationships are unknown, there is no disputing Marilyn's charm and attractiveness. She had the power to win the hearts of innumerable men, leaving a trail of admirers in her wake. It's no surprise that rumors about her amorous exploits floated around her, adding to her mystery and piquing the public's interest. Number 1. Cleopatra. Cleopatra, the enchantress Egyptian pharaoh, made her imprint on history. She was unquestionably one of the most recognized female queens of all time, known for her extraordinary beauty and military strength. Let's be honest, Cleopatra didn't have a shortage of fans. Who wouldn't want to befriend the Queen of Egypt? She did, however, have 2 high-profile romances with 2 Roman generals. Talk about setting your sights high. Cleopatra, who was born in Alexandria in 69 BC, was catapulted into the Egyptian throne with her brother Ptolemy. Sibling rulers are usually an intriguing dynamic. Cleopatra was finally driven out of Egypt by her brother and several of his associates. But don't worry, Cleopatra was a tough and crafty woman. She made an alliance with none other than Julius Caesar in her effort to recover the throne. Love and politics are an age-old pairing. Cleopatra and Caesar's union was more than simply a political stratagem. They became deeply in love. Their passionate love even gave birth to a boy called Caesarion. Unfortunately, their love story was cut short when Caesar was assassinated in 44 BC. Cleopatra, on the other hand, was not one to lament for long. No, she was looking for the next Roman emperor, and two men were competing for the job, Octavian and Mark Antony. Cleopatra, ever the astute seductress, set her sights on Mark Antony, and the two hit it off right away. Antony couldn't resist Cleopatra's seduction and followed her back to Egypt. They created the infamous Society of Inimitable Lovers, a drinking club famed for its mischievous pranks and expensive excesses there. Oh, the delicious pleasures of forbidden love. Mark Antony and Cleopatra's romance was legendary. They had a storybook of love life, delighting in fleshly pleasures and having 3 children together. Their political aspirations, however, proved to be their undoing. Octavian was enraged at Antony's conduct, so he disbanded the triumvirate and waged war on the pair. The epic story ended tragically. Antony stabbed himself after believing false tales of Cleopatra's death. Cleopatra realized the fight was over when she learnt of Antony's demise. She swallowed poison as a final act of defiance and despair, thereby ending their sad love tale. Cleopatra and Mark Antony's romance ended in such a spectacular way that Shakespeare himself couldn't have written it better. Their story serves as a lesson that uncovering a person's genuine nature involves more than merely studying their outward persona. To genuinely know somebody, personal contact or an intimate connection is required. We hope you enjoyed this video. We'll see you in the next one.